Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started right now. I'd like to welcome everyone to our 9th TILO Presents session via Google Hangouts on Air. And my name is Carrie Rassak, and I'm the Integration Specialist at Rossford Schools here in Northwest Ohio. And I will be the moderator for today's presentation. So glad you all can join us either live now or later with a recording of this event. For today's session, Jen Bengele from Vermilion Local Schools will be presenting. This session is scheduled to be about 45 minutes or so with some time at the end for questions. If you are new to the Hangouts on Air format or need a quick review, just want to let you know that you can view this either the Google Plus events page or the YouTube page that in the link that was sent to you. So either can be watched now or as the recording. If you are using Google Plus and able to get in there, you can either ask questions during the session using the blue Q&A button on the left side. That'll open up a Q&A area for you. And if not, you can add it to the Google Events page. You can just add it there in the chat. I'll be monitoring that as Jen is going through the presentation. And then also you can add questions on the YouTube page in the comments area if you need to ask questions there. I know some people can't access Google Plus at their school. So without any further ado, I want to let Jen get started and introduce herself, and then she'll begin her presentation. So thanks, Jen.
Thank you, Carrie. As Carrie said, I'm from Vermilion, and I am the technology coach for K-12 in Vermilion. We are a smaller district. We have a K-3 building, a 4-7, and then an 8-12 high school. And what I'm going to show you today is Doctopus and Goobric and how they work together with Google Classroom to make grading assignments that require a rubric way faster and easier. So the first thing I want to do to get started is go ahead and share my screen. And I'm going to take you to my 7th grade science classroom page. Carrie, can you confirm that you can see my classroom there?
Yes, it looks good.
Awesome, thank you. So if you've used Google Classroom or you are currently using it, you just add an assignment by quickly going into the lower right-hand corner and clicking on this plus button, and then you can create an assignment right there. And then when those students start turning in that assignment, you simply click on the ones that are finished and you can have this list here. So if I were to grade this with a rubric, I would have to bring the rubric up on my screen and then do a split screen and open every single one of these up individually and compare it to my rubric. And it's still, it's still an okay method, but a better way is to use Doctopus, which is an add-on in Google Sheets, and then attach a Goobric to it, which is a Chrome extension that works in concert with Doctopus. So let's get out of this classroom right now and go and see how that works. So I'm going to use a rubric using Doctopus and Goobric to grade this particular assignment, which happens to be a circuit lab. And again, I wouldn't use Doctopus and Goobric for every single assignment, but definitely those projects that are a little bit more lengthy, or a lab that you're looking for something very specific that you have a rubric in mind that you like to use to evaluate the student work, this definitely works really well. So I'm going to go into my drive, and the first thing I'm going to do is open up a Google Sheet. So I will go to New and Google Sheets. And I'm going to just hurry up and give it a name here. That's Circuit Lab. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go, after I name my Google Sheet, I'm going to go into my add-ons. And you can see I already have it installed here. But if you don't yet have it in your Google Sheets, you simply go to Get Add-ons. And it's usually one of the first. Of course, it's not right now because I'm trying to talk about it on air. So just search for Doctopus, and then it comes right up, and you'll see this, the octopus icon. and go ahead and install it. And once it's installed, you will always access it through the add-ons tab, and you simply click launch. Now, while that is launching, when that opens up, and it'll open up as a column on the right-hand side of your screen, as you just saw appear right now, there will be two modes for you to choose from. In this tutorial, I'm going to focus on ingesting a Google Classroom assignment, but there's also a distribute drive resources to a roster. And so if you are not a Google Classroom user, but would like to take an assignment that you've created using Google Docs in your Drive, and you'd like to automatically make copies and distribute that out to your students, you would be interested in selecting this second option here. The nice thing, you might be saying to yourself, well, why would I do that if I use Google Classroom? Well, one of the things that Doctopus allows you to do then is it has a great little differentiation option. So you can actually distribute to certain groups of students, or you can take different assignments and distribute them to different students. So it does give you a couple different options if you go this route. But again, this tutorial is going to focus on taking in that lab from my Google Classroom. So I'm going to select this first option here. And it will open up all of my different classes in Google. And I will go down to my 7th grade science and the building circuits lab. At this point, it will give you an option to only ingest files that are labeled as turned in. So if students did not actively click that submit button to turn in their assignment within Google Classroom, it will only view those. If I do choose that one, it'll only select those students that actually click submit. I'm going to leave that open for now because I want to see where all of my students are at within the assignment, and not just the ones that I want to see if progress has been made on the ones that did not turn it in, or maybe they simply just forgot to turn it in. So I will select ingest assignment. And so what Doctopus does as an add-on is it takes all of those links to those assignments that the students, that belong to the students, and it condenses them into this one single sheet that you can see right here. So I can click each of these links and it will take me to that student's work. And at this point, you'll notice that on the right-hand column, it also gives me the option to attach a Goobric. Now, Goobric, as I mentioned, is a Chrome extension. So if I were just to go to the Chrome web store, and search for Goobric, I would find that here. This is the one I have. There is a new version for students, and I haven't had the opportunity yet to play around with it. But if students have this Chrome extension on their device, then they're actually able to peer review each other's work with this particular one. So this is something I'd like to explore in the future. But this is the one, Goobric Web App Launcher. This is the one that I have right now that I'm going to show you. So I'm going to attach a Goobric, go back into my sheet and attach a Goobric. Now, you can see that I've already created two, but I'm not going to select either of those because I want to show you how this whole rubric works within Goobric. I'm going to go to my drive. So basically, and normally you'd, of course, already show your students what the rubric is that you will be using to evaluate their work. But I just want to show you for purpose here, how easy it is to create a Goobric within, or a rubric within Goobric. Oh, I'm getting all tongue-tied. So in your drive, if you already have a rubric created in Google Sheets, you can select that sheet at this time. If you do not, and you know you want a numeric rubric, or you could do a more qualitative one and select the copy a non-numeric rubric. I'm going to show you the numeric one now. What it will do is it will give you a generic example, will allow you to make a copy off of one that they've created. Notice that the cell A1 is left blank. So if you are interested in creating a rubric from scratch, just in a regular Google Sheet, make sure you leave this cell open. And then I'm just going to go ahead and redo a couple of these. So I'm only going to grade them on 2 categories here to keep it simple. Let's say they did not collaborate, they collaborated some, or they collaborated completely. And circuit created, none, series, or parallel. And then I'm just going to get rid of the rest of these. All right, and now I have my rubric, and I'm going to rename it so I know that it's my, I'm going to put TILO circuit rubric. All right, so now I have my rubric. And now I can go back and I can select it from my drive. Oops. Come on now. There it is. All right, so I've created the rubric in Sheets, and then I use their template, their numeric template, and I have then located it in Drive after I renamed it. I do want to make the rubric viewable to students, and I would also like to allow peer and self-assessment, but because I'm using this as a demonstration, I am not going to send email notification to students. Now, if I were actually doing this for students, I would select that option as well. And at this point, it'll just take a couple minutes, and you'll see it's going to make some changes to my Doctopus Google Sheet. Okay. Now you see that there is an additional column here in my Google Sheet that we had opened up with and launched Doctopus in. And at this point, if I click on that first link, for example, you can see the spreadsheet rubric at the top and my student work right here at the bottom. It automatically splits your screen for you. And I can say that, yes, this group collaborated, and that is definitely a parallel circuit. So I can go ahead and fill in the point value across the top. I can also put comments. I can type comments. I would not give this generic feedback in real situation, but I could say great parallel circuit. Also, there is an option, if you notice there's a little microphone in the upper right-hand corner, I can record audio comments. So I simply just click on that little audio recording. And now I can tell them that they've created a great working example of a parallel circuit, and then stop the audio recording. And so when they open up this rubric, they will be able to listen to my verbal feedback. You can see that it's converting to an MP3 right now. Takes a little while for the audio feedback. I can save it to Drive, or I can get rid of that feedback. I'm going to just get rid of that feedback for now. And then I can check the box. I want to email the score to the student. And after I do that, I can submit that feedback and then select next. And when I select next, it takes me to the next student assignment within the spreadsheet. So I don't have to go back into the spreadsheet and click on every single one of those links. I can quickly go through. This group collaborated some, and they did not create a circuit at all. So that would be give them feedback, click next, and it takes me on to the next student. So you can see how quick and easy the grading with a rubric really is when you are able to, I don't know why this was so small, go from student to student by just selecting that next arrow. Carrie, do we have any questions at this point?
No, nothing yet on any of the locations, so we'll just keep rolling.
Okay, is there anything that I know that kind of went pretty quickly, anything that you feel I should go back and take another look at?
I can't think of anything at this point, so
okay, well,
yeah, we'll see if the questions come in later.
I'll recap, what the process that I went through, and then we'll go ahead and see if we have some questions.
Perfect.
So I started out in my Google Classroom page and wanted to grade this particular lab using a rubric, but wanted an easy way to do that. So I created a spreadsheet in my Google Drive. Very simply just went and created a Google Sheet. I made sure that the Google add-on app Doctopus was available in my add-ons tab, and if it's not, I went down to get add-ons in order to install it. And once I have that there, I simply click launch. All of the instructions or procedure that you need to navigate through Doctopus actually just automatically comes up. And because I want to quickly grade a Google Classroom assignment with a rubric, I'm going to select the first option, which is ingest a Google Classroom assignment. I took that assignment from a 7th grade science class, and here's the lab that they were working on, building circuits. I decided to ingest all student files, not the ones that were just formally submitted, because I want to check the status of all of my students' assignments at this point. And then I select ingest assignment. And what the add-on Doctopus does when you're using it in this way is it takes all of the assignments that your students have done, and it creates links to them in a single spreadsheet. So I could go through every single one of these and view my student work. Similar to what you can do in Google Classroom, you can click on each individual assignment and view a student's progress. But this has the added benefit of attaching a rubric to it. So the last option here Doctopus gives you is to attach a Goobric. Now Goobric is a little Chrome extension. You see the little googly eye in the upper right side corner of my screen. I'm going to go ahead and attach a Goobric. Here are 3 rubrics I just created in this particular webinar. I just created this TILO circuit rubric, so I'm going to reuse that one. If you need to create a rubric from scratch, they do give you both a numerical, generic rubric that you can use, or a more qualitative one as well. that you can open up and then replace their categories with your own criteria. They will give you some options here. And then I select Attach Rubric. And this takes some time because it's associating the rubric with every single student assignment that's listed in the Doctopus spreadsheet. And now you can see I have this additional column here that says Goobric link. And to view the rubric with the student assignment, I simply click on the link provided in the spreadsheet. And I can quickly assign a point value for every category that I have created within my rubric. I can give auditory feedback by using the little microphone in the upper right-hand corner, or I can give some typed feedback right here. And then I just simply click Submit. And I don't even have to go back into my Doctopus spreadsheet. I can simply click Next. And it will take me to my next assignment. I'm not really sure why it's doing this, but normally this would not happen down here. I would see that. Let me see if I can forward to a couple other student assignments and see if I can get I think I'm just not being patient enough with it. That's what's happening. So that is Doctopus, which is a Google add-on app, and Goobric, which is a Chrome extension, working together to provide very quick and easy viewing of both the rubric and the student work side by side. And you can also email those scores back to the student along with the rubric, so they can see exactly how they were evaluated on that. And there's the rubric that we created earlier. So I'm going to stop my screen sharing at this point. Okay, there we go. Carrie, any questions come in yet?
No, I don't have any questions from the group. One question I was wondering again is the whole connection within Google Classroom. Is it pretty easy to go in and out of Classroom as well as these two add-ons and tools?
Yes. So your question is, it's mainly just a classroom question. Are you more asking about? You do have to get out of, oops, it wasn't screen sharing anymore. You do have to get out of Classroom and then open up a separate sheet to use Doctopus and Goobric. So you do have to exit Classroom, but what Doctopus does then is you can ingest that Classroom assignment into that spreadsheet, and it will bring it all together in one central location. And you need Doctopus in order to use that rubric builder and to have that quick, easy way to see the rubric on the top of the screen and then your assignment beneath it.
Okay, perfect. Because you could use it without Classroom, right? Like if you're using some other LMS or program.
Yes, and you can even use, and Doctopus originally started out as a document distributor before Classroom was available. Mm-hmm. So you could take an assignment that you created in Google Docs, and then Doctopus would allow you to distribute that assignment to all of your students. Google Classroom has kind of removed the need for that aspect of it. So that's when they came up with ingesting a classroom and then attaching that Goobric to it for quick grading.
Perfect. Great. Good news. Okay. I don't see any other questions. Hey, are your teachers using Classroom then?
We have a large Google Classroom following at the high school, and I would say that that is quickly gaining in popularity. I think the ease of use, it's not a full learning management system, but it's an easy way for them to communicate with their students and distribute assignments. So I think they like those features of that.
One other thing that you were doing with the rubric, and I was thinking of an English teacher here that was asking about wanting to do a rubric periodically, like periodic checks on an essay or a paper. So with this, it looked like you can do that with this. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Go in occasionally.
Yeah. And you could use that same, you only have to build that rubric once, and then you could choose that same rubric. So if this English teacher is using a similar assignment periodically, then they could just keep reusing that same rubric.
Okay, perfect. All right. I don't see any other questions, any other locations, so hopefully people have everything answered that they need.
All right, thank you. I know I went through that a little bit more quickly than I had intended. So
that's all right. That's why we record it, so people can pause and go back and have a separate screen and all that good stuff. So that's fine.
People are free, if you want to post my email, feel free to ask me questions that I might not have answered for you during the broadcast. It's jbengele@vermilionschools.org.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and that is actually on our calendar, so I'll show them that too, where that can be on the calendar event. If they need to look that up. So. Yeah, I'm sure they can Google you too. So.
Yeah, probably all over the place in a good way, hopefully.
That's right. That's right. Well, thanks a lot, Jen. I think we're gonna, sign out and then hang on till the end. I got a couple other things for you, Jen. So don't leave just yet. But I do want to thank Jen for presenting once again, and especially since she's a little bit under the weather, still trying to get healthy.
I'm so thankful I didn't have a coughing fit during that.
That's perfect. Those were the worst. I remember having that in class too. That's the worst. For everyone watching, either now live or the recorded event, your feedback is really important. And there is a link on the event page in Google Plus, as well as on the email that you'll get. I'll add, I don't think there's one on the YouTube page yet, but I'll add that on there as well. So the recording will be on the YouTube page if you need it, as well as the events page. And let me go over to let me find the calendar here for you all, if I can get to that. Do this here and share the calendar page. We'll go over to that. On the TILO calendar, it's TILO Ohio, or tilohio.org/calendar. You'll see we just got the one webinar today. This is where you see the details of this event, and then Jen's email is listed there on that calendar event. We do have a couple other webinars scheduled for later this spring in April and May, and we might get a couple others in there as well. So if you're interested in presenting as well and sharing some tidbits with some others, we'd really appreciate that. And you can contact me or even Jen. Jen knows how to get this thing rolling too. So once again, I'd like to thank everyone for your participation, and we look forward to sharing more in the future. So I'm going to end the recording right now. Thanks.